When I Fall by Scarlet Emerald 32. Chapter 14. Talisa sat bolt upright in her bed as she heard the clang of the front gates opening and the unmistakable sound of many vehicles pulling in. She jumped up and ran to her front door, grabbing her coat and slippers as she went. She threw her coat on over her pajamas as she ran down the road towards the people slowly getting out of the group of cars just inside the gate. The first one she reached was Aaron, and she grabbed him, giving him a hug that he returned immediately.
Finally, what took you guys so long? What happened to sundown?
Things kind of went sideways when we got out.
What do you mean?
A few of them got past us and they took Carol and Maggie hostage.
Oh my God, are they?
We're fine.
Maggie climbed out of the car a few back from them, and Talisa immediately walked over and pulled her into a crushing hug as well. Glenn got out on the other side and walked around.
You're okay? You're sure?
I'm okay. I just need some rest.
She patted Talisa's shoulder and then headed for her house.
They had to fight their way out. I was so scared we wouldn't get there in time.
But you did. They're okay.
Glenn gave a small snort of laughter.
Whatever that means anymore.
He rubbed his hand tiredly over his face and sighed.
Maggie doesn't want to go out anymore. She says she can't.
I mean, that's probably for the best. I figured that'd make you happy.
It does, but I'm also worried. It just feels like so much. I don't know how to help her with the stress of it all. She feels responsible for this place, you know? And I just don't know how much more she can take.
We'll help her handle it. Right now, I think she just needs to rest and have a minute to breathe. Go make her put her feet up and cook her some good food. Be a couple for a little while, instead of people trying to hold the world together.
Glenn smiled tiredly.
Yeah, that sounds good.
He followed Maggie towards their home. Talisa saw Rick and Michonne walking up the road, and she went to meet them.
Is it done?
We took out the base, got almost all of them, and then Carol and Maggie took out the ones who tried to kidnap them.
And Negan?
I took care of him myself. It's done.
Talisa took a deep breath and nodded. She gave Rick a half-hearted smile as they walked back down the road towards his house.
Well, since we finally got that out of the way, how would you guys feel about some apple cinnamon pancakes? Thanks to Jesus, we have all the ingredients, and I think a successful mission deserves a reward.
Oh, I doubt you'll have to twist many arms to make that happen.
Talisa knocked on the door and waited for a few seconds as she heard footsteps on the other side of it. It opened and Rosita appeared.
Oh, hey, he's in his room. Hang on a sec.
She turned away from the door and shouted down the hallway.
Eugene, your girlfriend is here!
Actually, I'm here to see you.
Rosita raised a questioning eyebrow.
Oh yeah?
I just figured, after everything that happened in the last few days, maybe you could use someone to talk to, and I brought party favors.
Talisa lifted the full bottle of tequila she was holding, and Rosita grinned appreciatively.
Now see, you really should have led with that.
She stepped back so Talisa could come in. As she walked into the room, Eugene appeared from the hallway.
Hey, haircut. As much as it always makes my day better to see your face, I'm actually here to hang out with Rosita tonight.
And the plan for the evening is to drink to the demise of your entire gender. So you may want to make yourself scarce.
Rosita added as she rummaged in the cupboard for glasses.
I suppose I will retire to my bedroom then. If you are in need of my assistance in any way, please do not hesitate to give me a shout.
Hey, just so you know, if you happen to hear me making any proclamations about the despicableness of the entire male population, you are at all times the exception.
She winked at him and he smiled back warmly.
Duly noted.
He nodded to Rosita before heading back down the hall.
God, you two are disgustingly cute.
She poured tequila into 2 cups and handed one to Talisa.
We really are, aren't we? But that is not the point of this evening. We're supposed to be cheering you up by discussing how terrible men are as a species. So, what should we drink to first?
The goddamn male ego.
The most fragile substance known to mankind.
They touched glasses and threw back their shots.
Okay, your turn.
Rosita poured them both some more.
To being told you're too emotional constantly, just to turn around and watch them put their fists through a wall over their team losing.
Oh my god, yes!
They drank again. They continued on that way until almost an hour of time had passed and the bottle of tequila was half empty. They ended up sitting on the couch next to each other, staring off into space.
What's the shittiest thing a guy ever did to you?
Once, in college, there was this guy who said he had the biggest crush on me. We hung out for like a month, and after we hooked up, he told me the more he got to know me, he decided he didn't like me very much as a person, that I was actually really annoying.
No, the hell he did not.
Oh, yes, he did.
To assholes in all shapes and sizes.
Rosita lifted her glass.
Oh shit, I'm empty.
She sat up and reached for the bottle of tequila on the coffee table. She filled her cup and then held the bottle out to Talisa so she could refill hers as well. She sat back next to her and they both sipped their drinks.
It kind of worked out in my favor, though. That guy dumping me is how I met JP, in a roundabout way, so joke's on him.
You're lucky, you know, to find one of the really good ones.
Pretty sure I found 2 of the really good ones, actually. When I think about it, it's kind of greedy. I really should share the wealth.
You offering to let me take Eugene off your hands?
Oh, hell no. You had your shot.
Rosita chuckled again and then sat up and turned so she was facing Talisa with a curious expression.
So, can I ask you something? 'Cause I've been kinda curious.
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Well, you said before that your husband was a lot like Eugene. And I see the way Eugene is with you. And isn't it kind of awkward?
What do you mean?
You know, being with someone who has, well, I'm just gonna say it, with someone who has no idea what they're doing.
Talisa laughed and shook her head.
Sorry if that was rude. I've just honestly been curious what the appeal is ever since you two started hanging out, and I guess I'm officially drunk enough to ask.
No, it's fine. I'm not offended. I just find it funny because that's really the assumption everyone makes when it comes to guys like them, and it honestly couldn't be further from the truth.
Really? How so?
You sure you want me to explain this? Fair warning, it might give you some mental images of Eugene you can't erase.
I'm not entirely sure I'm even going to remember this conversation in the morning, so what the hell?
Talisa sat up to face her and set her glass down on the table.
So everybody just assumes if a girl is dating a guy who's, let's just call it like it is, okay? A virgin. That the sex is going to be awkward and bad because he's inexperienced.
And that's not the case?
I mean, I'm sure it can be. And there's a learning curve to be sure. But with guys like that?
She motioned down the hall towards Eugene's room.
Let's put it this way. Eugene may not be an expert in everything, but you've known him for a few years now. When he finds something that interests him, something he has a real motivation to learn how to do well, have you ever known him to not do all the research he can about it and end up being an expert at it as quickly as possible?
No, not really. He's pretty much the best at everything he wants to be the best at.
Okay, so let's play that out. If he learns how to be an expert at all his hobbies and interests, because he likes them, how much more motivation do you think he'd have to learn to be good at other hobbies?
Rosita pondered her words for a moment, and then her eyes widened as she realized the implication.
Suddenly feeling like I missed a serious opportunity there.
Talisa gave her a playful shove and they both giggled.
Well, I mean, it's all theoretical at this point. We haven't gotten there yet, and I know, because he told me, that he hasn't been down that road with anyone else either.
Not as a participant, at least.
What's that supposed to mean?
Rosita's face froze in horror.
I can't believe I just fucking said that out loud. Shit. Oh, I'm way too drunk right now. It just slipped out. Oh my god, Eugene is going to murder me.
What are you talking about?
Talisa was growing more curious by the second. Rosita looked up at her with an apologetic expression and sighed.
Okay, if I tell you, You have to promise me you're not gonna break up with him over it. It was a long time ago, and we're so past it. Shit, I cannot believe I did this.
All right, now you have to tell me. Because with the way you're acting, I guarantee it's not as bad as what I'm going to come up with on my own.
Rosita closed her eyes and took a breath.
Okay, so back when we were on the road, the three of us, it was close quarters a lot, and sometimes we would...
She groaned and put her face in her hands.
God, I can't believe I'm actually telling you this. I'm officially the world's worst friend. Sometimes we'd catch Eugene watching us.
Talisa sat there for a minute before her meaning registered.
Oh, by watching, you mean watching.
Yeah, pretty much.
Rosita peeked between her fingers to see Talisa's reaction.
God, please don't break up with him.
I'm not going to.
Talisa sat there for a minute, trying to parcel through this new information.
So, did he know that you knew he was watching?
Yeah. Subtlety has never been his strong suit.
And did you ever call him out on it?
No. As messed up as it sounds, Abraham always said he wasn't really hurting anything, so we should just leave him be.
Okay, then.
Hang on, does that mean you're actually okay with it?
Rosita asked carefully, obviously surprised, but also obviously not wanting to do any further damage.
Well, I mean, it's something I could have lived without knowing. But, okay, so here's how I see it. Abraham's right. He wasn't really hurting anyone. Was it a little lurky and skeevy? Sure. But, I mean, if you'd walked in on him with a Playboy before you met me, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, right? A little awkward, but he's a guy in his mid-30s who's not having sex, so it's pretty normal. It's not like he had pay-per-view available while you were on the road.
That is an unbelievably mature and understanding way to look at it. He is really damn lucky to have found you.
I'm pretty damn lucky to have found him too. I know I was joking about it earlier, but to get to love two guys who are that special and one of a kind in my lifetime, I hit the jackpot.
You love him?
Rosita leaned her head against her knees as she looked over at Talisa.
Yeah, I definitely think I'm starting to, and it's scary as hell.
Rosita gave a small hiccuping laugh and looked down into her glass.
You know what sucks the most? I know it wasn't like that for me and Abraham. I think on some level, I always knew. I figured all the shit we'd been through together, the way we always had each other's backs, that it was enough like love to make it work.
She looked up at Talisa now.
It wasn't.
Have you ever been in love?
I don't think so. Love just makes you too vulnerable, you know? Before Abraham, before the world went to shit, I was strictly a casual girl, and believe me, it was a lot less complicated.
Rosita flopped back on the couch and Talisa joined her. They stared up at the ceiling for a little while, not speaking.
What do you think of Spencer?
Talisa shot a sideways glance at her.
Spencer? He's okay if you like that whole perfect Ken doll aesthetic. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's nice enough.
Dumb and pretty sounds just about perfect to me right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. We've established that my type is pretty much the opposite. And on that note...
She pushed herself up off the couch and stood, taking a moment to steady herself as the room spun slightly and walking around the couch. Rosita sat up and rested her arms on the back of the couch, watching her with a drunken grin.
What are you up to?
Just gonna go attempt to give Eugene a quick heart attack.
She winked at Rosita, who grinned even more broadly.
Oh, I like drunk Talisa. You're trouble. Just remember my bedroom is right across from his.
Talisa gave her a vague thumbs up over her shoulder as she walked unsteadily back the hallway and knocked on Eugene's door.
Come in.
She opened the door and leaned on the doorframe. He was reclined on his bed reading a novel, and he smiled when he looked up and saw her.
Hi.
Hello?
He marked his place in his book and set it aside. He sat up and put his feet over the edge of the bed as he addressed her again with a teasing smirk.
Exactly how inebriated are you at this moment? Do I need to go get Denise and have you monitored for alcohol poisoning?
No.
Talisa stepped into the room and shut the door. Eugene raised an eyebrow as she did and looked back at her.
What might you be intending with this particular visit? Because I feel it's important to point out that with your inhibitions being undoubtedly lowered, it may not be the ideal time for any sort of...
Talisa took 2 steps across the room, closing the distance between them. She buried her hands in his hair and tilted his head back none too gently, so he was looking up at her. She heard his sharp intake of breath and saw his eyes widen in surprise.
Eugene.
She leaned down to give him a soft, slow kiss.
Shut up.
Shutting up right this very minute.
He pulled her down to kiss her again, and there was nothing measured about the way she kissed him now. She crushed her mouth against his. The kisses were frenzied and chaotic, but also wonderfully electric. She ran her tongue across his bottom lip and felt a shiver go through him. She parted his lips with hers and kissed him more deeply, and was pleasantly surprised with how quickly and easily he fell in sync with her. He wrapped his arms around her and she felt him pulling her down onto the bed. She pulled away from him gently and stayed standing, but pressed her forehead to his. They were both breathing hard as he looked up at her.
May I ask what prompted that entirely welcome display of affection? Besides an obvious overindulgence in tequila, that is.
Just call it a preview of coming attractions.
She tilted his head up to give him one more soft kiss.
Sleep tight, haircut.
She shot him a wink and then headed back out into the hall.
You good?
Talisa walked into the kitchen and found Michonne staring into a bowl of mashed potatoes with the whisk held in the air over them. She jumped at Talisa's approach and began whisking again.
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just still surreal sometimes.
I know. With everything that's happened in the past few weeks, it seems absolutely crazy that we could be doing something as mundane as cooking a Thanksgiving dinner.
A Thanksgiving dinner without turkey.
True. But seeing as 3 weeks ago Carol was getting inventive with what she could make with acorns and canned beets, I'd say the chicken Jesus hooked us up with is just fine.
You bet it is.
Carol came into the kitchen wearing her apron.
Those potatoes almost done, Michonne.
Yep, whipped to perfection.
Table is all set. It's about as close to a traditional Thanksgiving dinner as we can get, I think.
Is it weird that I'm kind of disappointed we couldn't get our hands on some quality canned cranberry sauce?
Yes. Why the hell would you want a canned mass of jelly when you could have real fruit?
I mean, we don't have either.
I know, but it's the principle of the thing.
The 3 women made their way back into Rick and Michonne's dining room. Most of their friends were milling around in there or sitting in the living room through the archway to the right. Talisa saw that Rosita and Eugene had shown up while she'd been in the kitchen. Eugene smiled when he saw her. She walked over and gave him a hug.
Hey, haircut, you look nice.
She said, noting his dark green button-down shirt and khaki pants.
And you look just as lovely as you always do.
Just kiss her already.
Abraham cut in with a smirk, from his place leaning against the wall with a beer in his hand. Eugene shot him a look, but then gave a reluctant smile as he leaned in to give her a light, but slightly lingering kiss.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you, and happy birthday.
Everyone crowded into the dining room and took their seats. They'd pushed 2 tables together to be able to accommodate everyone, but it was still close quarters with 17 of them. Talisa took a seat towards the middle of the long table, with Eugene on her left and Abraham on her right. Rosita took the seat on the other side of Eugene, and Talisa noticed that Sasha took the seat directly across from Abraham. So far, she hadn't seen anything overt from either of them to confirm her theory about them, but she thought they seemed to be catching each other's eye more often than usual. After everyone was settled, Rick stood and looked around at the group.
In my home, it was traditional on Thanksgiving for us to go around and say what we're thankful for. And to be honest, part of me wondered if that's something we should really do this year. But the more I thought about it, I realized it's more important than ever to take a moment and acknowledge the good things that we have. So, I'll go first.
He picked up his glass.
I'm grateful for my family and my home. Having something worth fighting for is the reason I get up every day.
He looked at Michonne on his left, who smiled.
I'm grateful for this place, for what it means and what it's going to become.
She looked to Gabriel.
I'm grateful for the grace you all have shown me and for the second chance I have to choose who I want to be.
It was Abraham's turn next. He took a little longer to answer and kept his eyes fixed on the label of his beer bottle, which he'd been picking on as he spoke.
I'm grateful for the chance to stop surviving and start living.
As he looked up, there was no mistaking the significant look that passed between him and Sasha. Talisa glanced between them briefly and then around at everyone else as she spoke.
Well, I guess I'm grateful for all of you. As much as I love the people here, I think the minute you all showed up, I found my true family.
They all gave her warm, affectionate looks, and Eugene reached for her hand under the table and squeezed it gently as he spoke.
The list of things I find myself grateful for expands each and every day. My security behind these walls, the opportunity to be a part of the formation of a brand new society, my ever-expanding set of survival skills, and of course, most significantly, this lovely woman sitting by my side.
Aw, thanks, Eugene.
Rosita teased, earning a chuckle from everyone as Talisa rolled her eyes slightly and gave Eugene a quick kiss on the cheek. They went round the table in the same fashion, each person expressing their gratitude. Talisa was especially touched by Enid, who expressed her thankfulness for the hope that things could get better, and of course Maggie and Glenn, who were thankful for their growing family. It all felt so wonderfully normal, like they could have just been a group of friends having a normal Thanksgiving in the world the way it was before. When it finally came around to Carol, Talisa noticed she seemed close to tears. She cleared her throat before she spoke.
I'm grateful for all the love I feel at this table, and I hope you all never take for granted how precious it is.
Once the thanks were finished, they began to eat. It was an amazing meal. Thanks to the supplies from the hilltop, they had everything from green bean casserole to candied yams. When they had finally finished, Tobin leaned back in his chair and sighed.
I'll be damned if that wasn't one of the best Thanksgiving dinners I've ever had. Only thing that'd make this day more perfect would be if we had a football game on.
Well, that's one thing I can't help you with. I have recordings of pretty much everything except sports. JP and I were never sports people. You have a favorite team back in the day?
The Saints.
From the other end of the table, Rick groaned, and Tobin raised a questioning eyebrow in his direction.
You got a problem with the Saints?
I'm from Georgia. My dad would be rolling over in his grave if he knew I was breaking bread with a Saints fan.
Tobin laughed.
Well, can't say I ever thought I'd be on good terms with a Falcons fan either. Crazy new world, isn't it?
Rick chuckled appreciatively and shook his head.
Sure is.
Hey, Talisa, did you want to do the thing now?
Oh, yeah, sure.
She pulled her napkin out of her lap and dropped it on the table as she stood.
What thing are you referring to?
You'll find out in a minute.
She and Carol disappeared behind the kitchen door, and a minute later they reappeared, each carrying 2 pies. Carol placed the apple and pumpkin down on the table and took the cherry from Talisa, putting it down as well, so Talisa could bring the chocolate peanut butter pie with a candle in it over to Eugene and set it down in front of him while everyone sang happy birthday. Eugene looked around awkwardly at them all, obviously somewhat uncomfortable with everyone's attention focused on him. After they finished the song, he blew out the candle to applause, and Carol took the pie back to begin cutting it up with the others. Talisa leaned over and rested her chin against his shoulder.
What'd you wish for?
He glanced sideways at her in amusement as he accepted a piece of pie from Carol.
As you are well aware, if I were to disclose the nature of my wish, it would negate the power of said wish, though I imagine you may be able to ascertain its nature fairly easily.
He shot her a quick wink and she grinned.
Shameless flirt.
Okay, time for presents.
What? I assure you, there is no need to trouble yourselves with...
Shut it, Eugene. It's your birthday, you get presents. And besides...
She lifted a flat rectangular package from her bag.
I already got it, so if you don't take it, you're just being rude.
Oh, well, in that case, I heartily accept, thank you.
He unwrapped the package and found an informational book about firearms.
I checked it out. It's got details about all the guns we have in our armory. Figured, well, I can teach you everything I know. You'd be happier teaching yourself how to be more of an expert than any of us.
Eugene smiled at her.
Thank you, Rosita. Rest assured, I will read it cover to cover and happily add weapons knowledge to my ever-expanding skill set.
This one is from Tara. She asked me to make sure you got it when she realized she wasn't gonna be here. She said she found it randomly when she was out on a run, and it felt too much like fate to not give it to you.
Eugene took the package from her and unwrapped it. When he saw what was inside, he began to laugh. He held it up for everyone to see and explained.
It is a portable cassette player, and she included 2 cassettes from my favorite band.
Iron Maiden?
Glenn raised a curious eyebrow as he saw the name on the tape.
Yes, indeed.
How about you, Talisa? You got anything special for our birthday boy?
I do, but I think I'll wait and give it to him when it's just us.
Hey now.
Talisa reached in her pocket and pulled out a small package, holding it up pointedly.
It's an actual gift, Gutterbrain. It's just personal.
Eugene finished opening his gifts as they ate their dessert. Talisa was touched by the thoughtfulness of the others around them. Maggie and Glenn had also given him a book, this one about agriculture, and Eugene had immediately started poring through it and discussing suggestions with Maggie. Carol had made him a batch of his favorite cookies. Rick and Michonne gave him his first personal weapon, a small, easy-to-use machete, and Abraham gave him what she thought was possibly the nicest gift. It was a new coat made of a heavy canvas material, and the best part about it was its multitude of pockets, both inside and out.
Figured with the weather getting colder, you could use something a little heavier. And it's got plenty of places for you to store all the doodads you're always tinkering with.
So how old are you now, Eugene?
35, and I must say I sincerely hope the tail end of my 30th decade is a good deal more enjoyable and less terrifying than the majority of the first half turned out to be.
Amen to that.
Several hours later, Talisa made her way out onto the porch carrying 2 mugs. She shivered slightly in the chill of the early evening. Eugene was sitting on the porch swing to her left, wearing the new coat that Abraham had given him.
I brought you some hot cocoa.
She handed him one of the mugs and then sat down beside him, tucking her feet under her and snuggling close to him for warmth.
Aren't you cold out here?
Not particularly. I have always tended to run warmer than the average. Therefore, it takes more to chill my bones than most. A fact that has been essentially useless to me more often than not, seeing as I made my home in one of the hottest states in the country.
Well, it's entirely useful to me, because I am perpetually cold, a fact that made me entirely miserable more often than not, seeing as I lived in one of the coldest states in the country.
Eugene chuckled.
I suppose it's yet another way we are uniquely well matched.
Hell yes, it is.
She lifted her head from his shoulder to give him a gentle kiss.
So how was your birthday?
I can confidently say that was one of the best birthdays I can remember to date. I'm sure this comes as no surprise to you, but I have never been the type to have a plethora of friends eager to celebrate with me.
Well, times sure have changed in that matter, haven't they?
Yes, ma'am, they have. And while we're on the topic, I can't help but notice I have yet to receive that small parcel in your coat pocket, though. You indicated that it was a gift you intended to give me privately. And it appears to me that we happen to currently be alone.
Talisa looked around in mock surprise and shot him a teasing smile.
We are, aren't we?
She pulled the package out of her pocket and handed it to him.
It's not all that special. Honestly, I won't mind if you don't want to wear it. It's kind of dumb.
Eugene unwrapped the last layer and a necklace fell out. It was a carved wooden charm on a simple silver chain. He held it up to examine it, and Talisa hurried to explain, feeling very nervous he wouldn't like it, despite what she said.
It's the North Star. Tobin is a whiz with wood carving, so I asked him to make it for me. When I was a kid, my dad had to go away a lot. He was a traveling doctor. I would always get upset when he tried to leave. So he sat me down one night and pointed up at the North Star. He loved the stars, always tried to teach me the constellations, but I was terrible at seeing them. The North Star was easy to find, though. He told me every time I looked up and saw it, I should remember that he could see it too, and that no matter where he was always beside me. I figured. With how crazy everything can get from day to day, I wanted you to know I'm always with you, even when I'm not. It's you and me, haircut, ride or die.
Eugene looked down at the charm again, and then back up at her. She could see something profound in his expression that she thought she understood, but he simply slid the chain over his head and let it drop so it sat against his chest.
I will never take it off, I swear it.
He leaned over to give her a long, slow kiss.
Thank you, truly.
Don't mention it.
She tucked her head back against his shoulder and snuggled closer to him as they watched the sky fade from purple into inky blackness as the first few stars began to appear.
Would you look at him go?
Abraham walked over to where Rosita was leaning against the doorframe to the living room and nodded towards Eugene and Talisa on the front porch. She shot a nonplussed look in his direction.
So we're on speaking terms again?
It's just crazy to watch him falling for someone is all, and nobody else gets just how crazy.
Yeah, I have to admit, as much as I hate your guts, it's weird walking in on them in the living room and not having you to talk to about it.
Abraham stood beside her silently for a minute.
For what it's worth, I'm sorry for how I did it. It was the right thing to do, but I didn't have to be such a royal prick about it. I know that doesn't make it better, but...
No, it doesn't.
Rosita looked across the room where Sasha was laughing with Michonne and Carl.
You know, as shitty as it was, what you did to me? If you keep sitting around on your ass, afraid to take that next step, that's even shittier. So sack up and do something about it.
She gave him a swift shove in the shoulder and then walked back towards the kitchen. When I Fall is a work of fiction based on AMC's The Walking Dead. Any characters not created by the author are the property of said company. The story will continue in the next chapter.